Hi, my name is Ayush Sachdev, and I'm the Financial Director for Research Outreach. Today, I'll be showing how we plan on teaching 4 different lab skills to our students. Before we do begin, I'd like to go over the different PPE that are typically used in a lab setting. First are the goggles. These are typically used if you're working with hazardous chemicals and any biological agents that could cause any harm to your body. Same goes with the lab coat and the lab gown. Now, since we're not working with any hazardous chemicals or biological hazardous waste, we don't really require those. See, all we're using is lemon juice, baking soda, a potato, water, and ink. All of these things I found within my house, and I don't think that we need the proper PPE for these things specifically. Now, if you're working with brain samples or something like that, then yeah, you definitely do need PPE. But since we're not working with that and we're working with basically kitchen supplies, other than the ink, we don't really need PPE for that. However, we will offer gloves to make sure that none of the students get any of the ink on their hands. The first lab skill that we're going to be going over is pipetting. Now, I don't actually own a micropipette at home, so instead I'll be using this syringe as a substitute for the micropipette. So to start this, make sure you put your gloves on first. After that, we're going to take this bottled water, and we're going to use this syringe to take a certain amount of it. Now we're going to be teaching them how to use the dilution equation, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to pick 2 random amounts. So in this first cup, I'm going to go up to 4. And that has 4 milliliters of water in it. And for the second cup, I'm going to be going up to 2. Now that's about 2, not exact, but that'll be fine for this. So this cup has 2 and this cup has 4. Now we're going to be putting, in order to make sure that they both have equal amounts of volume, we're going to be putting different amounts of dye in there. So for this one, I'm going to be putting 1 drop. Since this one has 1 drop, that means which equals to a total of 5 milliliters. This one should have 3 to make it 5. And the point of this is to show how different dilutions can create different solutions, essentially. Not different solutions, but different concentrations, and it changes how the appearances of both solutions. So this one is a lot more darker red than this one, and that's because this one is more diluted than this one is. This one has just more water, and that changes, and that overtakes the dye then. And that was pipetting. So the second lab skill that we're going to be going over is pH testing. So in order to do that, we're going to need different stuff. So we're going to need water, baking soda, lemon juice, and all 3 of these things can be found in a kitchen, which is why we're using these materials only, as they're very safe to use. And then I also have pH test strips, and we're going to be using that to test the pH of each solution. So first, we're going to be putting water in a cup. I did that already. And now I'm going to be putting water in the other 2 cups as well. In the actual lab skills, when we do teach this, we're going to be teaching how to use exact proper volumes and everything like that. But just for the sake of this video, I'm just going to be putting random amounts. It should still demonstrate a change in pH. Now this one, I'm going to leave as it is. This one should have a pH of 7. Now this one is lemon juice. I'm going to be putting this in this cup. The goal is that this should have a more acidic pH, so a pH lower than 7. This is baking soda. This is a more basic substance. When I put this in this cup, the pH should become more basic, which means it'll be above 7 then. Now we can already see there's a physical difference between these two compared to what they originally were. This one's more of a powdery white. That's probably because there's not enough water to dissolve the baking soda, but that's fine. It should still show that this is more basic. And this is a more yellowish color. Now we're going to be using our pH strips to test the pH, and we'll be comparing it to these over here. And whatever color the pH strip is, that'll be the pH. For water, that has a more limeish color, I think, so that's exactly at 7. So that means our pH strips are right then. For the baking soda, as we can see, there's a much significant difference in color. This one's a lot darker green. So that's around, it's either around 8 or 9. Either way, there's a pH difference, and it's on the side where it's more basic, so that proves that that was right. And for the last one, for lemon juice, also another different, this one's more obvious than the others. This one is a more reddish orangish color change. So this is probably around 3 or 4. So that proves that that's more acidic. And that's how we're going to be teaching how to test the pH of different substances. So the third lab skill we're going to be going over is explain the different parts of a microscope. At this one, we don't actually need to do anything. We're going to be having Google Slides to be demonstrating this. But just to show you, I'll be showing the microscope that we have ordered from SOAR. This is the microscope we ordered. As it says, it's for kids, students, adults, and it comes with its own microscope slides. Now this is a very basic microscope, nothing too fancy or expensive. Literally anyone can use it. As I showed in this picture, a child is using it and she's not even wearing PPE. So we're sure it's safe. But as stated before, we'll just be showing the different parts of the microscope in this activity. So the fourth lab skill that we're going to be going over is using a microscope and making slides for the microscope. Now, to do that, we're going to be peeling some potato skin off of this potato by using a potato peeler. So now I have the potato skin. I'm just going to put it inside of the bowl with water. Now, in an actual lab, you wouldn't be touching the substance, obviously. You'd be putting it inside of the well and then moving it from the well into somewhere where you're more able to put it into a slide. But for the sake of this video, and just to make it quick and easy and simple, I'll just be doing that. And we won't be teaching everyone to do it like this either. We'll make sure that they understand how to do it safely. Now, I don't actually own lab slides with me, or microscope slides, I mean. So instead of that, I'll be using just this plastic container. Now, I'll just be putting it inside of here and moving the potato peel so that way it goes inside of there and stays in there. And I use a paintbrush to move it in there. This is what I commonly use in my lab to move brain samples onto a slide. Now I don't also have a cover glass with me right now, so instead I'll just be putting this like cover on top, and now it's just a substitute as a cover glass on top of a microscope slide. And then that's basically how we're going to be making the slides then. And after that, we'll be putting it under the microscope. The microscope that I just showed you that we ordered from Sora. Now, the microscope does also come with its own slides, so if this doesn't work or if this doesn't fit on the microscope, we'll just be using the slides that already come with the microscope kit. And that's how we plan on teaching how to use a microscope then. So like I demonstrated, all the stuff that we used was completely safe. I didn't need to wear any PPE for it because it was just stuff we use in the kitchen. And you don't wear a lab coat when you're cooking. So I'll also be showing how to take off gloves properly. You take from this end, you pull it back like that, and then you leave it in your hand. Then you go over here like this and pull. And that way the gloves are together, and then you're just touching the part that hasn't touched anything either. And then you can safely dispose of it anywhere you want. So everything we use here is completely safe, and we hope you understand that. However, if you don't, we will try to comply with whatever requirements are needed. Thank you.